Welcome to episode 11 of Spilling the Tea podcast. Steve Astle joins us today. His CV goes on for miles, so I'm going to sum him up as a top 20 golf coach in England, works with the England girls squad, and is a golf coaching business guru. I hope that's done you some justice, Steve, but I'll let you dive into it a little bit more. Can you take us back to where it all started, but post-war, please?
Just straight away, mate. Good to be on. What you're doing with it, and knowing you as well as I do, we'll keep this on the entertainment level, mate. Because yeah, so post-war era was just always going way back. Sport. Loved it. Football, cricket. Fell into golf at the age of 15 when somebody told me that I wasn't good enough to play football anymore. So it was all football growing up. Schoolboys, with like professional clubs and things. Told at the age of 15, you're not going to be tall enough to play football for a living. I was playing professional basketball by the time I was 17. So there's a great kind of talent identification story right there. Somebody making a decision on you based on as a young lad. So yeah, all sports, football, cricket, found golf. And I guess the one thing I loved about it was after years of having somebody make an opinion on whether you were good enough to play in that team or you could win or lose depending on somebody else's decision. Golf was like, right, it's me. And if I'm crap today, then it's because I'm crap. If my score's crap. If I'm good, then I can, it's because I'm good. And so yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And then just fell in love with it. Just started off on 16 handicap, 16 to 8, 8 to 3, and was kind of off and running. Lived it, breathed it. And then found basketball as well. So I switched away completely from golf and from football and cricket. Found basketball as well. Played that to good standard, and then that's what I did. Summer was golf, basketball was winter. I enjoyed the basketball still because I missed the fact that you could go and clatter somebody when you were frustrated. And in golf, I'm still a big believer there should be some kind of full contact golf out there where you can get like 2 hits every 9 or something like that. So yeah, I enjoyed that side of things. Somewhere you can take your frustration out and physical. And that was me. Went the college route then, played both sports at US college, came back to the UK. And then it was just at the time, I guess I'd worked out pretty quickly in college that I wasn't going to pay the bills by playing golf for a living. And I'd spent all my time in college almost just watching other players go in, I can help you, and I'd help them, and I'd get more buzz out of them hitting it good than I would myself. And that's really where I kind of, felt that actually I want to coach for a living. My dad was a teacher, my mum was a teacher. And I remember sitting around the Christmas dinner table once, really proud that I wasn't in education for a living, and then realized that actually it was just chasing the ball around in a bit of a different manner. So yeah, it's been in the family, just I guess helping people, and that's the real buzz for me. Moving from there, turned pro, still dreaming that I'm going to play for a living a little bit. Worked it out again that I wasn't good enough. And to be honest with you, if you went to why I'm not good enough, wasn't good enough handling pressure. Hated the feeling of what it like to have the butterflies and sweaty palms. And yeah, I always say, you had Watley on the other week, and he's a great example because he's somebody that if you're 5 under after 13, he's going, I can get to 8 or 9 here. I'm 5 under after 13. I'm going, which way is the clubhouse? Can't get in quick enough. Not quite sure how I got to 5, but I would take it every day of the week.
So basically what you're saying is you are a melt.
Yeah, just not good enough at the highest level, basically. But yeah, that was journey. And then it was just coaching. It kind of went, my journey was started in municipal golf. I was running a pro shop at the age of like 21, 22 with 3 or 4 staff there. We had the best time of our lives there. And and I just built a coaching business at a muni course, which I didn't realize at the time. That was kind of, people didn't have loads of money, but my diary got filled out for weeks. Then went abroad, went to Austria, taught in Austria. That was like a 4 or 5-star resort up in the mountains, beautiful. You start each week with 0 in your diary, and then you'd learn to, fill your diary throughout the week. Then went to New Zealand, came back to the UK, and yeah, and it was just teaching at different venues, proprietary owned, private clubs, and just realizing the same systems worked wherever you went, but just loved helping people.
Yeah. How did you end up at Morley Hayes then?
Picked up the phone.
Yeah.
When I came back into the UK, I picked up the phone to most golf clubs around the area and says, "Have you got any coaching jobs going?"
Yeah.
Funny how things like that happen.
Yeah.
Sliding door moment. If I'd not picked up the phone, where would I be today? But that's kind of the way it goes. And that's one of the things that I'm sure we'll get onto it later. But yeah, just networking and being proactive, I think, are two of the biggest things that you can really do to move yourself forward. We'd all love to sit here and everybody come and give you job offers and, you sit and wait. But yeah, I guess one of the things I've always done is I've been prepared to get out, like what you're doing now, this podcast. You're making it happen yourself. It's not just somebody's gone, "I want you to do a podcast." You've gone, "Right, I want to do this and I'm going to reach out to people." Now, some might shut the door in your face, but there'll be clowns like me that will say yes once in a while. So
yeah, but they don't know your appearance fee. That's the only problem. But yeah, you're right. Like, and we've had. We go back probably about 10 years, and
right now,
yeah, it is. You've got a lot more grayer since then.
a lot.
But like we probably had those chats throughout 10 years of just going, like, just starting something, like just start something. And you see now 11 episodes in. Yeah, it's not got loads of traction, but it's still part of something that I now do, and people are listening that I want to listen, and it's starting to get a little bit of traction where it does make things happen. And I had a guy today send me a picture of someone next to him watching the YouTube channel at work, and you're just like, how? And it's
Yeah,
crazy. Actually, there are people looking, listening, and watching this that you don't even know, which is just mad.
yeah,
And then that's how you build a network ish.
yeah. That's the starting point. There's going to be, yeah. It's I always say it's leaders and followers. And there's some people. It doesn't mean leaders are better than followers. Just some people are better at taking action. Some people are quite happy doing their thing. Some people are great 9 to 5ers, and that's what they like in their life. And there's other people that like to live with the risk of entrepreneurship, knowing what could come at the top end, but also there's not a guaranteed salary sitting there every month and X amount of holidays, and that's it's it's part of the game. But no, it's good to see what you're doing, mate. It really is.
Thank you. We're trying. Right, we'll start with you. We'll start with coaching, and then we'll build into what you do. You do that predominantly now? You more?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I would say it's probably 80% of what I do now is working with coaches on their
Yeah,
business. Yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's changed. Like, that's got to be like a 2 year. That's got to be about 2 years, right? 2, 3 years.
What, to make that transition? Yeah, it's probably, I've been doing this now for probably 5 or 6 years, and it's probably been 2 years where I made, probably COVID was a big changing
Yeah,
point for me. Then
yeah,
COVID was suddenly going, we need somebody to help us through this process a little bit. And yeah, I kind of filled the gap there a little bit, jumping coaches onto calls. And yeah, so it's probably been 2 or 3 years transitioning across, but I can't give up the coaching because I still love working with people so much.
that's brilliant. So talk me around. I know you've got some. I know you not biases, but you've got a philosophy around your coaching. Who are your main guiders on that, or who are the people that you'd go and shadow to sort of pick up this philosophy that you've got around your coaching?
Yeah, I think bias is a fair word because I think we've all got biases. We're all products of our environment, and it's you try to do your best to step back and hope that it's not. But there's still, even when you step back, you've got biases how you reflect on it. So I think yes. Yeah, so for me, it was going back. It was interesting actually because again, different era, hence pre-war. It was. We didn't have what the kids have now, the opportunities in terms of there wasn't a tour for a 9-year-old. There wasn't, coaching wasn't the automatic thing that you did. And probably the first bit of coaching I got, I bet I was 15 before I got any kind of coaching. That was county. And suddenly I meet a different coach for the first time and he says, "Oh, try a bit of this, try a bit of that." So for me, yeah, it was, you worked it out
Yeah.
yourself. I remember sitting at home watching the Faldo videos and Valderrama and, on Betamax. There you go. Now I'm going to show me age. So yeah, you worked it out, what it was. And I think that helped massively because everything wasn't fed to you. So you had to pick out what was good, what was bad. So go back to the question again around
How,
my
where,
my
like,
philosophy.
what's your coaching philosophy, and what were your big influences on it?
Yeah, so big influence would be then, I guess the first coach I really went across to see was a guy called Dave Ridley, who was England head coach at the time. It was at Coxmore. Some of the boys had been across to see him, said good stuff. So I went across. I was still working on my game at the time. I was half decent and went across there, spent some time, and suddenly somebody was giving me information that I'd never had before. And got me striking the ball maybe a different way than I'd ever struck it before. And I just became hooked into what he was doing, where he'd been. So Rids had spent a lot of time in America, with different coaches over there, I guess, on his own journey. And then he'd come back, he'd share that with me. And I used to be excited about going to watch him. And then after I'd had a few lessons, I would be like, can I sit and watch your next lessons afterwards? And he'd be like, yeah, of course you can. So usually I'd go in with some of the lads, I'd watch their lessons, and then I'd have mine, and then I'd sit and watch a few more afterwards, and I'd be scribbling a few notes away. So yeah, it was a really cool time, and you start to, I guess, I was quite heavily influenced by what he was doing, and as you do, I would then go back to the club and I'll go, right, I'm going to coach people like this as well, and and that's kind of what you do. You go on an education day, and the next day everybody gets that what you've learned the day before. Yeah, and so that was the start of the journey for me, and then just that triggered, I guess, me starting to just go elsewhere and spending time with other coaches, seeing what they did. To be honest with you, I wasn't a massive shadower of people. I'm a big advocate of it, but I didn't shadow loads of people myself. I was just grabbing all the knowledge that I could from conversations, from magazines, from books. I was a big book reader. Yeah, watching golf on TV, loved watching it. So yeah, theory wise, and then I think now I look back at it, all the other stuff that I did in all the other sports. So I was a football coach, I was a basketball coach as well. I'd learned how to see all these different things going on, and how they all kind of came together in terms of just people learning. And I just loved, yeah, I just love helping people. I guess see that's it sounds. See the smile on their face when you've helped them hit a better shot and you've turned the light on. That's what I got off on.
Yeah, 100%. I suppose when you've been coaching football and basketball as well, you almost pick up all the communication skills that you need to make anything make sense, whatever you're coaching.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. There's the how and the what, and the kind of how you do something. So the what would be the technical. So if I say you, George, right, you're going to go and coach a badminton class, it might be like, don't know anything about badminton. So you might need to learn the technique of what happens, but how to set up that session, how to work with people, how to find the right challenge point, all those things. You've got the skill set to do that. We just don't have the technical knowledge to be able to go and apply it fully. But I always say coaching's coaching, it's coaching, it's dealing with people. You try to take them from A to B in the most pain-free way possible. Yeah, and so yeah, that's what I really got off on. So that would be, yeah, I guess what underpinned all of it, and then just working out very quickly that the other thing I was key on that I think look back on now and it pieces it all together. I've always had a real passion for good customer service and
Yeah.
being looked after. So when I worked the golf shop, it was like, right, we answer the phone inside 3 rings, we give people full attention, we try and meet their needs. And that then started to feed into my golf coaching. So I'd be like, we should be doing exactly the same thing. What's going to separate me from you down the road? We both help people hit the ball better. Well, maybe it's the experience that you have with me, or maybe it's, that I can relate to them better than you could, or et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, the little soft skills, as I'd call them.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of my big points I probably picked up from you is that just being relatable, because the experience for me comes first. If you can give a good experience and get them even slightly better, they're still going to go away having a great time. And if you get both perfect, then A1
Yeah,
set for
I,
life.
yeah, absolutely. Because I think, you know, you could actually really bond with somebody, not give a great lesson, but then walk out of there thinking that was good because the chemistry was there. Now, that obviously isn't the result we're after, but sometimes the opposite can happen. And I've seen it where coaches can give great information, but because the chemistry is not there, the player doesn't buy into it, or it doesn't go into the brain as well as it does where, when it's together. So for me, it's always been, how do we get that relationship and the result as well? And so when you kind of move on to my philosophy, or, it's that relationships and results is the biggest thing always.
I like that. That's a good word. Relationships and results. We like that. Right, Steve. How is it working, or what's it like working with an England squad?
So I'm regional squad. So just to clarify that, we have a national squad, and then we have 10 regions that sits underneath it. And I've worked with a squad in the Northwest to begin with, probably 10, 12 years ago, and then I've moved down to the East Mids. So it's a really cool job because there's not many times in our industry that somebody says to you, here's X amount to go work with those players. So that's quite unique because everything we do is always very transactional. It's kind of like, you're going to pay me, and it's usually an hour or there's a bit of time there. So when somebody says, here's X, go work with these players for 30 days, and there's a clear goal, which is, it's not about, can I get them to come back next week or in 6 months' time? The goal is, go find some girls that can get in that national squad. We're looking for players that can play at the highest level. So you start with, quite a clean slate every year, see what the developing talent's like, and also the opportunity to work with maybe a 12-year-old right the way through to 18. So, yeah, I love it because there's a clear outcome goal of what we're trying to do, and every time, and I struggle with this every year, we have assessment days, player will stand in front of me, and I'll be like, kind of, as a coach, you're going, I can make them better, and I can make them better, and I can definitely make them better. And my manager will always turn around to me and go, do you think they can play for England? And I'll be like, yeah, maybe not. But you just want to choose them because your instinct is, I want to help them with the time that I know I've got. And then you start to look at problems of, actually, if I've got 10 of them in a squad versus 5 of them in a squad, how quick can I fast track these 5? And if I take 10, is it going to slow down these other 5 that potentially was going to go? So, yeah, it's one of my most favored roles that I do just because of that. It's somebody giving you a clean slate and going, make them as good as you can. Here's plenty of time to go and do it. And how you go about it is up to you. And usually that's a combination of one-to-ones, group sessions, small groups, course planning and prep, tournament prep, might be experience days, strength and conditioning. So you just very holistic coaching as it is. And again, very rare that somebody comes in and goes, bang, there you go. I want 30 days with you this year. Make me as good as you can.
Yeah. What? That could be a new
Why not?
New. But I was going to say, like, the way that you run that is very different to the way that you run your general coaching business, isn't it? Like, you've got days at Woodall Spa where you are just skill testing the living daylights out of these girls, compared to, you might do a little skills test at the end of a lesson, but it's not the same environment as they're getting at that level.
Yeah, and I think this probably come round to what maybe talk about in a bit with what I do with the business side of things is, you, again, part of my remit there is to obviously help them get better, but in the back of your mind, you're always going, I'd like to see them again in 2 weeks' time, because you're trying to build a business at the same time. Whereas that's removed for me. I know they're going to be there. So therefore you can do the type of coaching you want to do purely around the outcome. And if somebody messes around and isn't on board, you move them out of the squad, or you find a solution. But you're not going to carry people because you've got to, i.e. the clients that we have that come in that go, this person's paying me money, but really they're not committed to what we're doing. And it's nice to get the money, but after session 6, you go in, this is a waste of time, or this is hard work, because they're not really involved in it, in what they want to do. So from that perspective, it's great.
Just to butt you in there, Steve, if any of my clients are watching this, that is none of you, just to let you know.
Oh, you always say how great your clients are, George.
I know, the best.
So Yeah, it's a different type of coaching, and you're also trying to not necessarily get a result next week, which can be often what we do. Whereas with these, I look at a 12-year-old and I go, where could she be by the time she's 17? And to be able to go work on somebody's speed over 6 months with them, or know they've got S&C support, or they've got people around them. And again, and also working with the parents over 5 years to try and help them help their kids is a really cool project. So yeah, it's a different type of coaching. And yeah, and they're also in a window where you can be really quite influential over what they do. I mean, obviously, that we first met when you came on a college program, and it's just a stage of life where you kind of, where am I going next and what am I doing? And you'll find that, people around there can be quite influential, whether that's for a good reason or a bad reason, but you're at a time in life where you're trying to make decisions, and there's a lot of, hopefully the right people guiding you in the right direction. So yeah, I love that role just because, I always say you might produce one player out of those in 5 years that really goes on and makes a living, but it's those that come back afterwards and go, thanks, I'm not in golf anymore, but I still use what we did in the area that I'm in now. Or actually, I'm still in love with the game. I might be playing county stuff. Or actually, I coach now for a living, and I use some of the things that we did still with my group now. So yeah, it's nice. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, me and Watley had a chat about that last week, but I mean, I on my programs, I include a skill session, and the majority of the things that I do in those skill sessions come from when it was either you or James taking a day of where we're going, right, in pairs, you got to do this, come back to us in when you've completed it. And that's the way that you learn to score, especially when you're in a pair and either working together or competitively against each other. It starts to build a
Yeah,
different
I mean,
type of skill.
I'm huge on challenge point, on just finding that, I've done a lot of, again, outside of the industry, just gamification. I'm kind of, when pick up a PlayStation, what makes us keep it in our hand for as long as we do? What's the addiction?
Yeah.
And they're so good at going, right, we're going to give you success early on, and then we're going to make them find that level that challenges you, that makes you go, just one more go, just one more go, or just have one more go at it. And so we don't make it too difficult that you put it down and go, I'll never get this, and not too easy where we go, this is boring. And I remember as young pros sat in the pro shop and be playing Gran Turismo, and you'd have to do these license tests.
Yeah.
And you first do, and all you've got to do, let's say, is take a left, get down a straight and take a left-hand corner. Okay. And you know what I'm talking about, don't you? And you would go the first go, and it would say gold 18 seconds, silver 20 seconds, bronze 23. And you do the first run, 28 seconds, and you go, it's impossible. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay? And then 26, 24. And this could be a period over hours. And then your mates would be in trying, and they'd find a different line that's quicker than yours. Yeah, you bring back some memories now, aren't I, for you?
I'm still doing that, Steve. I still do that.
Great. Well, it's no different for you. You like your karting, and it's just kind of that's the challenge point for you, isn't it? You don't want to go around there and beat everybody by 50 seconds. You want somebody who's going to push you, and you still want to win, but you want to win and go, all right, that guy's maybe find a different level, or that girl's pushed me to a different height there. And so that really stuck with me. I'm going, hang on. And by the end of it, we've got gold in 18 seconds. I originally went, that is impossible. You can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't care. So to take 8 seconds out of something, and it was just that detail of how you can pick a 1% here, 1% there, 1% there, how it kept us engaged.
Yeah.
The controllers are flying everywhere. And, it's funny, isn't it? Because we grow up in an environment, again, don't throw your clubs, don't swear, but you need to find that edge. You need to be on it to be able to go, right. And that's when I love it when a kid throws a golf club. No, what I don't want them to do, what I don't want them to do is take away from everything else in that round of golf. So if being angry becomes destructive, or not great for you. But some kids can't find that next level because they don't know what it's like to go to those places, as they say. Go to the well, go to those dark places where it's tough, and you're going to stick it out. And you take Gran Turismo and you turn that into life, don't you? And you just go, it's easy to bail out sometimes. Sometimes you've got to dig deeper with it. So that for me was huge, just that gamification of how these companies hooked you in, made you find different levels of emotion that you'd never found before, and made you start to raise your level or acquire skills that you didn't think you had to begin with. So, and that could be, so we took that and we put it into a situation where we went, right, go hit a lob shot between those two canes. You got to land it in there and keep it in there. And you see the emotion to begin with, be can't do it, it's impossible. To suddenly, oh, we've got one in there. What's the challenge? 3 in a row. Oh, I've got 2. I missed the third one. Head off, start again. And so it was those things, and suddenly you've worked out that if I get the face wide open here and hit across it, it lands softer, and so suddenly you're acquiring skills and competing. So I was always big on how do you create pressure for people, maybe because it's one of the things that I struggled with. So how do you do it is go play against your peers because you hate losing to them. Put time on it, which is what we used to do with you guys. We'd go, right, this is going to take you this long. And if you fail here, you go back to the start, or whatever it takes. And then the third one would be money, and that's something like going, knock a 3-footer in. Yeah, you could stand there for hours doing it on the putting green. Somebody comes and sticks 50 on the table and goes, right, hold that 3-footer. The game changes completely, but the task hasn't. And so it's doing those things. That's what I love doing with the girls, is running them through those stages. And we'll put loads of things in, like jokers, where they've got to make a girl replay a shot that she's been trying to master for an hour. She gets it. Celebrations there. Yeah, see that one again. Off you go. And so we're creating skills there of being ready for anything coming at you, and also being ruthless around the tasks.
Yeah.
So that's something that we love doing. Again, and it's having the time to do those things and just going, we have got 3 hours now. We're going to work one task for 3 hours, and let's see, even if you can just see if you can stick with it for 3 hours, because that used to be one of the biggest things when it's cold, woolly hats on, who's prepared to do it?
Yeah, I mean, just there's a few points I want to go back on that, but to start with that last one there is, I mean, when you guys left us, I remember one day you took us through a putting morning, and you and Watley, and you guys probably do this on purpose, is you guys will set up all the tasks, run through them, and then go, all right, we'll be back in an hour, whatever, leave us to it, and you would have 3, maybe less, doing it properly, and the other 6, 7, they've just clocked out straight away. And sometimes it almost gives you that drive of, okay, if these guys are clocking out, then I must keep going here and keep doing the right thing.
Yeah, go back to our Gran Turismo. It's like somebody going, there's a cheat code to get around there. Do you want the cheat code, or do you want to do it this way where it feels a lot more to you? And it was that, wasn't it? It was, do I get through this morning without getting told off? Do I get through this morning with them, them going, oh, you're a good boy because you're doing it for somebody else's gratification, or you're actually going to do it for you because it's going to make you better, and we've given it you for a reason. Are you going to take the task on board and go, yeah, I'll take the challenge on? Yeah. What's behind?
After you said that, do you know what? I would have said I probably was doing it for the gratification. Although, because what I realize now is it would all get me better. But back then it was probably for the gratification. Just where I was at with what was going on in my life, it was probably more on that than anything else, which is...
Yeah, and I think, there's nothing wrong with that gratification at the time. I've definitely, when playing basketball, you're trying to do things to please your coach sometimes. You're not thinking about your career. You're going, he wants me to do that. I'm going to show him, look how hard I'm running. Look how hard I'm diving on the floor. Look how, and those kind of things. No different to filling your weekly reflection. Oh, I've done it, look. Yeah. But did you really do it as the level that you needed to do it? So I think the gratification for somebody else will work to a certain point, but you're going to get to a stage in life where you go, actually, this needs to be self-gratification here. I've got to start to push my own buttons rather than do it for somebody else.
Yeah, I've always been a people pleaser. Not good.
But the recognition of it, isn't it? And that's what these tasks throw up is, who's prepared, as we said, to acquire the skills. It's not changing swings and wrist positions. It's about what you've got up here and what you've got in here, because that's really going to, by the time you line up 50 kids across the country who can all play, they've all shot 67, they can all swing it at the same speed. What's the separating factor? Yeah, how big they are down the stretch,
Yeah.
how deep you're prepared to go, and are you prepared to come back? It's the old Rocky, you're prepared to get up when you got knocked down. It's that, isn't it? And so we would put your tasks in there that we know are going to separate some from the others.
Yeah.
And then where you have a choice to go, do I want to be in the messing around group or do I want to be in this group over here?
100%. I'm going to go back to that little bit of the Rocky moment, the stickability, as you would call it. And then after that, I want to go back to the anger stuff. Talk me through, or anger, whatever we're calling it, frustrations. We've had a lot of chats around stickability. Let's go 3 top tips for sticking to something, because you love a bit of this.
Yeah. 3 top tips for sticking to something. I mean,
it's a rogue question, but we're going for it.
No, great question, because what jumps to mind as soon as you say it, I would say James Clear, Atomic Habits, because I think what he's done is he's taken a subject that everybody struggles with and he's gone, I'll put this in a book.
Yeah.
And so I dive in there and I think you see the things, sometimes you read a book or you watch something, you go, that's me. They've written that for me. And that's something that I get when I read that. I just go, yeah, that's what I hang my hat on here. So little things would be things like, don't try and make it too big to begin with. Little habits start with little stages. That would be the first one. Second one would be try and attach it to something else that maybe is already a habit, i.e. maybe you brush your teeth every day. Well, try and then habit stack with something else on top of that. So when I clean my teeth, I'm going to do my 5 push-ups as well. I'm going to start off with 5 and then try and make that 6 next week. So I think habits break a lot. So that's what stickability is, the ability to stay at the task for as long as possible. And third one would be, I think, just self-awareness. When that moment comes and you've got the choice to give up, that's when you then really got to go inside and go, do I want to give up or do I not want to give up? And that's a bit of a loose one, but the third one would be go read James Clear's stuff. And again, sign up to the weekly email. Get something that's going to remind you and stay on task all the time. Because I think stickability goes with accountability. I always feel that the most successful performers, business people, whatever it is on this planet, don't have anything different to what you and I have got. They're just good at doing things for longer and have more endurance and aren't looking again for the instant gratification. They'll play for the gratification that might come down the line.
Yeah. I think again, like Atomic Habits sums it up perfectly. But one of the things I get from that is it's so sometimes it's okay to miss, and this is where you helped a lot as well. Is it's okay to miss, but just catch yourself before it ends up being a spiral.
Yeah, I love that, because again, now you've mentioned that would definitely be in that top 3 there. That would be, it's okay still.
Yeah.
If you miss brushing teeth one day, doesn't mean you're done. It just means you start the next chain from that next day and you go again.
Yeah, that was something that I would crack on. I mean, you know it as well. I would crack on for 2 weeks and be absolutely on it, miss a day, and then the world's blown up and it's another 2 weeks before I start again and it's not a good habit.
No, it isn't. But again, it's great to chat about, because a lot of people listening to this will be going through exactly these things right there. Your serial practicer. I've been to the range 8 days in a row. Oh, I missed it now. My streak's ruined.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Going back to the anger stuff. I don't know if you remember this, but I want to start with a story on how golf does affect your golf. How being angry does affect your golf. I don't know if you remember this, but in one of the college events at Morley, I managed to throw all my clubs up a tree halfway through one of the rounds. Do you think that's a point that anger is affecting golf?
When you've got nothing to hit the ball with, I would say it as a direct effect. But college for you is just a real journey, wasn't it? Which again makes it real. And I'll say this, it makes it a real honor as a coach, because we forget that sometimes. It's an honor to work with and a privilege to work with people when they're going through those times. You'd not had it easy with everything you'd been through early in your life. And to suddenly have a few dad figures around you and a bunch of people who maybe didn't know your story or weren't judging you by what had been previously, and it was a massive step for you that, to go and live away from home and do those things. And you'll often find in life, that big decisions, the big scary stuff is where the good stuff comes out of. It's easy to do the easy stuff, and so for you at that time, it was, you were George the cheeky chappy, you were George the angry George, and we saw all these different range of emotion. Frustrated a lot, things. I always remember the one that sticks in my head would be you trying to get in the team, and you were so close. I think you'd lost in a playoff to get in the team or something. And I remember you and me sat on the grass at the top having a real deep heart to heart.
Oh man, yeah. Even Watley remembers that one. Even
Yeah.
what?
I think it's great, isn't it, that you can look back, when you can look back at those moments and vividly remember them, then you know how powerful that was at the time, because it was a moment where actually you were ready to take the next step. And that doesn't always come with like pom-poms and fireworks. Sometimes it's that low to go so close, and I'm so frustrated. And I'm looking at you going, great, it hurts.
Yeah.
He wants that. You'll get so much from it. But, at the time, I'm not going, great that you're upset here, George. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd rather have that than somebody who's just flatlining through your program, and don't cause you any problems, but they also, don't really do anything great. And yeah.
Yeah, that one hit home. I remember that because you were just like, I mean, I just missed out, and I think everyone could see it. And then you was just like, I don't even think I come up to you. You come up to me and you're just like, Jules, come on, we're gonna go at the end of the range here. And then I think it was just like, I think I made the end of the range underwater at that point, and it was just like a 10-minute sort this out and go again. But it's depending on, like, sometimes you needed someone different. Like if you needed a funny pickup, you'd sort of go to Nigel. If you needed a kick up the backside, you go to James. And if you needed somewhere sort of in the middle where it's like, no, you've got to do this, but come on, you can do it, it was like, go to you. There was always, you always had one range of whatever you needed there.
Yeah, it's those dynamics, isn't it? And as coaches, sometimes we've got to be all three of those people. So we have to be, somebody will walk in and you've got to be very good over a period of time at picking up where they're at that day. And then what do they need moving forward? Because, one of my worst skills in coaching is planning. I'm awful at it. And everybody knows that. Anyone who's ever worked with me will know how bad I am at planning. Because, and I think the reason why is, one, I hate paperwork, but two would be, I always feel like it's a better skill to have to be able to adjust to what you need at the time. It's even like today, you've sent me some questions across this morning. I've just said to you, go where you want, George, because
you've not gone close to him.
Yeah, because that's the skill, if you like, of being able to adapt.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to meet the needs of somebody that walks in that day. Yeah. And what do they need that day? And if they're having a tough time right now, I can't be going, okay, it's pitching today. Because right now, what they need is 20 minutes, have a chat and just kind of get their head in the right space to be able to do what they need to do. Yeah. And sometimes you have a CEO comes in and you need to kick up the arse because he's got people running around him all day telling him how great he is. Well, actually, he's not doing what I need him to do. I need to get in his face. And so that's, I think, one of the beauties of coaching. And sometimes we can over plan and over prepare, and it doesn't meet the needs of the individual and what they need that day.
100%. I think we're on that point there. We're going to leave your coaching and the coaching side of it too. And now we're going to go into the business coaching stuff. So,
okay.
You want to explain what you do in terms of consultancy, first of all, for coaches?
Yeah, I mean, it's very simple. I help golf coaches around the world make more income, get a better work-life balance, or move towards the career path that they want to move on. Simple as that.
What career paths do you see people tend to want to move from, like to and from, when they come and see you?
I think most people, I get a lot of calls of people who go, obviously it's coaching. So we're taking a specific area of the industry, and we don't tend to start out that way, do we? Or our training isn't very specific. It's quite broad, from club repairs to, everything going on. And I think, that'll be what my take is. I think we could specialize earlier in our training. I think the PGA could go, right, year 2, you want to be a coach. You're telling us, let's go into the world of biomechs, physiology, coaching, and then maybe year 3, even what type of people you want to work with here. So a lot of the people that come at me will tend to be, Steve, how do I from a career perspective, I want to work with the best players. I want to be an England coach. How do I do it? What's the journey and the pathway that I go down? Or, so I get a lot of that comes at me. And these days, maybe not even be who I want to work with. It just becomes a lot more specific, as in career based. I want to work online for a living. That's what they want to do now that option's available. So yeah, what's really cool about it is no different to coaching. It's just working with different people at different stages of their life with different wants and needs, and what success looks like to them might be different to you and me. For some people, it's I would love a weekend off. That is success to me. For some people, it's I want to take a player from junior all the way to tour. For some people, it's I want to be sat on a beach doing golf lessons for a few hours every morning in the day, because that's success to me. And so that's what's cool, is success is different to everybody.
Yeah, that is. What do you see? It's hard. It's probably quite a broad question, but what's the top 3 mistakes you see within the coaching business or within the business of coaching?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good question.
Yeah.
Big mistakes I make. One is that we fall into a world that we probably didn't plan on coming into for this reason. I.e., you and me are both sat in this chat because we both wanted to win the Masters, probably, to begin with. Yeah. Okay. I've got more chance than you have, but we're both sat in the same room. So
maybe if you had 40 yards and actually hit it past me, that might help.
We'll not let this descend into anarchy. Okay. So there has to be some big bets placed, and before we know it, there'll be a whole YouTube channel. Basically, I see it like this. You and me both fell in love with hitting a ball into a hole in a field. That's how simple it is. Yeah. Okay. After a while, we realized we weren't good enough to get paid for hitting a ball into a hole in the field. So then we decide I'll help other people hit a ball into a hole in the field in as few shots as possible. And so taking it like that, we've never really applied for a job, as in, we do, but we didn't go, that's my career, I'm going to go and apply for this. If I wanted to be an accountant, then I go to university, do that course, do this. Now, there's a bit more of that there now, and you're at the front end of that. I'm going to do this at college, opens up career pathways and things like that. But still at the heart of it was, I want to play and be the best that I can. And at some point, that doesn't pay the bills anymore, but you need to pay the bills. So to come back to your question, it would be one of the first things that I see is, because of how we found it, we don't see it as a business and run it like a business. So that's the first thing straight away, is golf coaches don't see their coaching as a business. And that's probably where I got into to begin with. Okay. Yeah. So second thing on top of that, then, because they don't see it like a business, there's then very little strategy or process around what they do. We don't look at things like pricing, marketing, sales, experience, all those kind of things, because we're used to, again, people maybe coming up to us even before we do it for a living and going, you're pretty good, can you show me how to hit a bunker shot? Suddenly we've become a coach, but we're doing it because to help somebody. And that's also why, a lot of people don't do their jobs because they put a smile on somebody's face. They're doing it to pay the bills. If I'm selling 50 of these fish tanks, I'm not thinking about the smile on somebody's face that gets the fish tank. I'm going, give me that. It's a transaction, isn't it? And so we end up then just going, right, well, I'll sit and wait for people to come and ask me to help them to hit that ball in a hole in a field in less shots. Yeah. So the mindset switch of helping coaches go, right, you need to be able to run this like a business. It can be a very profitable income for a lot of coaches out there if you run it in the right way. But if you're going to run a business, there has to be accounts, there has to be a strategy and a process that you go through to help these people get better in and around it. So that would be the second one. First one would be, don't run it like a business. Second one would be no processes in place to be able to, for that to perform properly. And third one would probably be golf coaches' relationship with money. I think would be one of the biggest things that I see. We don't like to charge very well for what we do a lot of the time, because we're doing it to help people rather than pay the bills. We've got a culture, and again, part of this would be where we come from, would be the culture of 6 for 5s. It would be, we've worked for pros in pro shops, again, who've come from a culture of, I'm the pro here and everybody's respecting you and what you do. And now we're seeing big switches in the industry with that, where golf clubs are going, well, we're trying to run it like a business now. What are you bringing to the table? So I think that'll be the third thing, would be just, golf coaches' relationship with money, what we make, what we charge. So that'll be the three things.
Yeah. Right. You touched on marketing. I know this is one of your favorite topics. I won't say three, I'll say two tips to market. And this is quite broad. So if there's still like just amateur golfers listening, this can still this goes much further than just golf, what you do in terms of marketing. Can you give two top tips on marketing, whether it be in golf, life, whatever it be? Because I know it's not just specific to golf.
Yeah, again, they probably link into what we said earlier, and they link very closely to golf. Yeah. So marketing, first of all, you've got to see it as, disassociate it from, or sales and marketing I see as a kind of a pack, if that makes sense. The two things work hand in hand. They are letting people know you have something available to purchase, and then doing a transaction with somebody where you're swapping either services or a product or whatever it is in exchange for money. Okay, so they come in hand. So the first thing would be understanding that both of them are key for your business, no matter what you do. Okay, if you're Apple, if you're Coke, if you're Dave the radiator fitter, you need to be able to sell something, and to sell it, you need to let people know that you have a product that is available or a service that's available. That's as simple as I guess I can kind of get it. So therefore, I think what we do again is we have association of sales as that window guy that won't leave your house until you buy something, or you walk into a shop and the guy won't leave you alone. And therefore we have the association of being uncomfortable, of being pushed into something, maybe buying something we didn't really intend to. And I think that's what we see as sales, somebody who's belligerent and just won't leave us alone. And therefore we go, oh, he's the right salesman. It's a car being sold something and then realizing you've been done over because it's not worth what you thought it was being paid for. So it's dispelling that myth and recognizing that actually sales and marketing can be really good, because you can help somebody solve a problem that maybe they weren't aware of, that needed, that they didn't know you had the solution. And so that's how I see sales and marketing. And for me, it starts in the world of marketing. Just to let you know, I can help you build your golf coaching business out, and therefore you can make more money, spend more time with your family, and maybe move up on the career ladder that you didn't want to. Okay, so I've got a product, and my job as a marketer then is to let people know that I do that. And then that service is, you're going to pay me for doing that, and hopefully you've got something out of it that you'll go, that was worth every penny, because it's helped me get from A to B. It's filled the gap from where I was and where I want to get to. So use the gym as an example. Somebody feeling down because they're overweight and everything else on top of it, for somebody to go, if you pay me X, I'll hold your hand on this journey to go from here to here. And when you get there, you'll feel great about yourself. So it's the emotions that come with it. Then for me, sales and marketing isn't a bad thing, because I'm helping somebody get what they need in their life right now. And so the top tips would be, first of all, understanding what sales and marketing is and the roles they can really play in your business. And then the second one be, coming back to something we've already done, would just be the execution of the process or the plan. So therefore, having a marketing plan in place and a sales strategy in place that is going to help people, and then executing it, stickability, because that's the tough things again, is going, right, can I execute the plan and do it every single day of what I need to. So we go down to the golfer, if you like. It applies to anyone that's listening to this that plays golf. Can you put a plan together of how to get from here to here? And then somebody like George can go, right, I'm going to hold your hand through this process to help you get here. Okay. You need to have stickability because you're the golfer, and I need to have stickability because I need to be consistent with helping you through this plan and help you execute it. So that would be the two things, is one, recognizing sales and marketing are so important, what we do, and not just these things that bigger companies do because they've got money to do it with. And the second one is that actually the process, once you get in there to do with marketing, again, is still just being consistent. What's your clear message going to be that you're going to get across to people? And if I could throw you a third one around marketing, would be, don't see it as trying to sell your product, see it as an opportunity to help people. So as I always say to you, George, give. just give. Use your marketing of giving. So hopefully this pod today is great marketing for you, because it's giving to people out there more information. And if they want to find out more about what you do and want to find out more about what I do, then that's marketing. And then maybe there's a chance to sell a product that's going to help them enjoy their world a heck of a lot more at the end of it.
Yeah, I've never, and this goes back to your point of seeing the coaching role as a business. Is the podcast for me was never about marketing, but it is marketing, and it's one of those things where you go, actually, yeah, thinking about that is marketing. And going back to like strategies and that, you think back and you go, actually, I do have a little bit of a strategy with that. If I can just build that out, or you start to build this proper structure and system around it that you can play about with until you find the right thing that works. But you don't. So I think some people, because they don't see it as a business, they don't realize that underlining that they do have some system to what they're doing.
Yeah, I think spot on. I think a lot of people do have they have the best intention. There is some kind of system in place, but they don't realize that they're doing it.
Yeah.
I was chatting with Hugh yesterday online. We were going back and forth a bit on one of his posts, which is cool, because it was about, the biggest sales tool being, can we help players get better? And I can't argue with that, because that's what we're trying to do, But I've worked with coaches who are very good at helping people get better, and there's still spots in their diary because not enough people know about what they do and how they do it. Yeah. Nothing's ever going to be word of mouth. If you tell me to do that, you recommend this hotel that you went to, versus me reading a magazine, I'm going to take your word because the trust factor is much higher. Yeah. But that reach can only go so far in terms of who you can tell, So yes, helping people is always going to be bottom, the best thing that you can do. Helping them get better. Them telling somebody else is always going to be better. But if social media for me just speeds that up and makes it go a little quicker, and you've got a marketing strategy and you're using these areas, then yeah, I think it's part of the game. Because as I said, we've got coaches who are very good at helping people who maybe people don't know about. And then the flip side of that, I've got lots of people who are very good at marketing, but their product's actually not good. They maybe don't help people as well as they should be helping. So the perfect world for me as a coach would be, go find people like Hugh that can help you coach better, shadow great coaches, watch what they do and how they do it, but also recognize if you can bolt onto that a great marketing strategy and a great sales strategy, then you can really blow your business up, because you're then great at helping people get better, but also they can find you. They have an amazing experience when they're with you, and all the bells and whistles that come with that as well. Then you kind of like, if you like, the analogy would be great restaurant, great food, great service. Then you start to go, right, this is 5-star now, rather than got great service, but the food wasn't that great, to be honest with you, but they made me feel good. Yeah. Or I go in there and the food's amazing, but man, I tell you what, this place is a dump and it's not, and so that's kind of how I see it. If we can get the full theatre, and the product is so important, and I would say that is the most important. You can only blag it for so long. If your product's crap, you'll get blown out of the water.
Yeah, that is so true. I want to bring you back to the where you said about social media speeding things up, and I think you might have been the guy to tell me this, or I've read it somewhere about the touch points. The if you've got someone, say you got someone that comes in word of mouth, and probably the first thing they're going to do is either look at your website or look at you on social media nowadays. So if you've got that touch point where they start following you, then you offer, like you say, you offer something out for free, whatever it be, then they get on an emailing list. So you've got 2-3 touch points there already, and it's something like 7, isn't it? I think, is it 5?
I think, yeah, not my research on that. It goes way back into marketing, and basics of marketing, I would say, or the people that have really broke it down. And some would say there might be 16 touch points or whatever, but I think it's, basically what we're saying is that a lot of people who do say, oh, word of mouth is why I'm here, but actually that word of mouth might have been accompanied by, a mate who said they're good, plus they saw your poster on the wall, plus they bumped into one of your Instagram posts, and so usually all these things line up, and that's the psychology of marketing and person selling. I think one of the usual ones is, you go and buy a car and you think, oh, nobody's got that car around, that'd be pretty cool, even if it's the color, and then all you see is that color or that car, because your attention shifts to it. So if we can grab people's attention, and in a busy world, that's what's tough, to really get people's time. So we have to be super slick and quick at getting it. You know, you've maybe got a couple of seconds to stop somebody scrolling. And so, yeah, I would say that's an important part of it. And those touch points, yeah, whatever they may be, it could just be, as you just said, on an email list. It could be on social media. That's another touch point. You know, your pod again is going to be another touch point, and that's what you're adding all of this to the equation.
Yeah. And then watching me break 59 on YouTube is another one, isn't it?
But I've seen it, I've known, and that's the way the algorithms are set up. You know, I watch you. You came on my screen yesterday. You and an amateur golfer trying to break the course record somewhere. You know, and the things that I saw was something different. I saw something, you know, you guys having fun, which is quite enlightening for a lot of, you know, people out there. I'll go off topic a little bit here, but sometimes what we perceive golfers want isn't actually what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so we need to do a lot better as an industry to be able to go, what I think they want versus what they actually want is different. They want to watch YouTube. They want to watch different things. So my clients, I let them go watch YouTube, and then I'll say, who are you watching at the moment? What's he like? Right, I'll go and watch, and I'll find a couple of his videos that you can watch that relate to what we're trying to get you to do right here. So I'm trying to bring them into my world a little bit.
Yeah.
Everybody comes in and says, I'd like to be consistent. And as an industry, we laugh at it. But actually, what's wrong with that? Why shouldn't they want to be consistent? Because it's a game that requires consistency.
Yep.
So we know they're not going to hit the same shot every time. So our job is to educate them that this is good enough level of consistency. You know, what they don't want to do is top one and hit the next one.
Gosh.
Amazing. But I think we need to do better trying to embrace actually what they want and not trying to impress on them. This is what you need to do. Now, maybe you earn that right down the line to be able to do that. But to begin with, you know, back to my philosophy, meet people's needs as much as you can. I think is key.
Yeah, I think I've always had just again going off topic a little bit, but I've always had the ability to be quite infectious, and I think that works quite well over social media. So the stuff like the course stuff and these, I think I'll have better retention rates, or people will keep watching because I am sometimes a numpty, which can happen, right? So it's just like, I like doing that stuff, but I also like being very serious, like getting people to understand stats around the game and understand, like you say, actually you are consistent enough from tee to green to get this round in under 80, but you putt like a numpty. So if you go on a little work on that putting, there's no way that you can't drop those 3 shots to shoot under 80, but stop coming in to do long game.
Yeah, because again, just my observation in the industry was that we've almost gone through a phase of trying to make this game flipping difficult for people. And I actually don't think it is that difficult, you know, and, you know, as in we can sound like, you know, well, there's 2 things here, actually. Yes, it is difficult in terms of we're trying to hit a ball that's that big into a hole that's that big, that's 500 yards away, and we're disappointed if we don't do it in 5 shots. If you dropped an alien down and said, do that in 5, again, we're back to Gran Turismo, aren't we? We go in, that's ridiculous, trying to get it in there in 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And so expectation management is huge. And I think as an industry, sometimes we should spend more time on that, on with people, on going, let's manage what you can do. We can reach those goals. Let's manage your expectations right now, and then we'll raise the bar for you. Whereas sometimes we try to get business by trying to make this sound difficult and overcomplicate it. And that's where I have the advantage, if you like, of going, I know what sells out there and what works in all areas of life in marketing. Things that work are usually people love looking at people. So people buy from people, i.e., as you just said there, it's infectious. They like you, they like your laugh, they like your, you know, they like to see what other people are doing. Why do we watch 12 people sat in a house on Channel 4 just being humans? Because we like to watch what other people are doing. Why do we talk about other people sometimes? You know, because we just, you know, infatuated with other people and how it works. So people buy from people. So showing yourself and what you do is massive. Second thing I would always say is simplicity beats complexity. So if we can simplify this game and let people know, actually, this isn't as tough as you think. It's not easy, but we can simplify what you're doing rather than trying to find big words and fancy movements that you must do to make that happen. So I think simplicity sells. And then the other one that sells would be transformation. People love seeing somebody go from over here to over here. You know, I watch 2 million YouTube subscribers to a guy who cuts somebody's grass on a Friday.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. I think I'm one of them.
Yeah, I am. And then what's he done? Set up his own channel that does power washing on patios
Yeah.
because it just you see something how it was at the start and where it is at the end. And we try to do it in golf on a before and after basis, but unfortunately the gap's 25 minutes. What people need to see is where was it 6 months ago? Now where is it down the line? You know, yeah. So that's kind of, I don't know how I got onto that topic, but that's just, you know.
I'm gonna fly off two questions from, well, one question and one sort of area that helped me is, firstly, so do you think social media has had an influence on the complexity of golf now, if that makes
Yeah,
sense? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Some
I
people,
really struggle now. I used to do them, but I didn't like doing them, of doing any sort of drill or swing video. That's why I tend to stay away from doing online coaching, because I just can't get my head in the right space to talk that way.
okay,
But I would just say I don't like the complexity. I know what I know what other people are talking about. I know what I'm talking about to an extent, but I don't like using the language. Just
yeah. So again, I'd come back to, with it being on social media, it goes to the masses, doesn't it?
yeah,
You know, it's like you and me on this now. You know, you'd like to think certain people are watching this pod, and certain people will be because they're in your world already. But you also know there's going to be a mass of differential there with those people. So some of them aren't going to know what the P numbers are and what, you know, radial deviation is. And I don't think we need to talk about that in our industry, you know. And maybe when we're all in a room together, if it's a common language that simplifies things and saves time and gives us clarity over a definition, then it makes perfect sense. But to the masses on social media, simplification, I think, is key. But again, what's cool, we go back to early on, don't we? People are people, we're all different. And that's what makes it great, because some people do want it to be difficult because they want to master something. Some people do want the complex because they want to know, tell me how tough it is.
yeah,
But sometimes in our industry, we compare what we do to surgeons and to people. We're not surgeons. We're not playing with life or death here. We're trying to help somebody hit it in a hole in the field in a few shots less. Some people are coming to us for entertainment. Some people are coming, we're a customer service job. So we can't sit there and go, well, surgeons would be, you know, have this definition for that. I'm not a surgeon. Okay. So I think we're better off comparing ourselves to more people in the service industry and more in the entertainment and customer service and, you know, and those kind of things. So yeah, I'm all for simplicity. I'm all for, there's something out there for everybody and we need to embrace it
yeah,
as an industry.
yeah. I'm going to go on to expectation management as well. I
Mm.
I personally, although this is getting slightly away from what we're going on about, but I personally think if I knew everything I knew about stats now, I would have been a much better golfer as a youngster, because my expectations would have been so much lower than they are, and I would have accepted the many duck hooks that I hit around the golf course. It's
So
crazy. And that's my main thing at the moment is, can I get enough information out to people that they start going, I'm really not that bad at this game. Like, and if that means if I do that, and
right,
that should mean around this score, oh, okay then. So I've only got to do one more green in reg to sort this, or I've only got to do this, and then you piece the puzzle together and you go, actually, yes, it's a hard game, but if I think about it logically, I can get round without transforming my swing, without doing anything different. I could probably be 2, 3 shots better without just being logical about what I do.
we're back to gamification again, aren't we? We're
Yeah,
back to, you know, if Gran Turismo puts 18 seconds down as gold,
Yeah.
I know it's achievable. Yeah. Okay. Now, if they didn't put any time down at all, then I can just compete against myself and what I think's good. So one of the probably best things in our game and one of the worst things at the same time is par.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's put a number down there that I should be doing this in. Or is that what the pros should be doing this in? You know, if we suddenly took a golf course, got rid of all the markers, and they handed you a card at the start and it said 86 is the expectation level on here.
Yeah.
You know, and then that changes the game completely, doesn't it?
But I think that's where this new handicap system, WHS system, comes in. It does help with that, because you can almost go, okay, so this is my handicap's now 3 shots harder. So if I'm shooting, let's say a scratch golfer and they get 3 shots, now if I'm shooting 75 around here, then I've done well. But yeah, people don't look at it like that. And also, if you've done it that way, if you've taken all the score, all the pars off the holes, and then got let's just say 100,000 rounds of golf on it from different handicaps, you could then categorize those. So 0 to 5, par would be this. 10 to 50, whatever it be, you would be able to change the par for every single person. And it could be, one hole could be a par 4 for a scratch golfer and a 4.22 for a 15 handicap. You go up.
That's what makes golf cool, isn't it? Because it's one of the few sports where we can directly compare ourselves to the elite level and play on the same playing field that they play on with the same equipment. And so suddenly we start to draw these contrasts. You know, whereas I can't go out and play against Harry Kane, you know, and those things. So it's all, you know, when somebody goes, oh, you know, I'd be able to mark him. No, you wouldn't, because you don't understand the complexities of what goes with it. So, yeah, I think expectation management is huge. You know, back into early in my career, that would be one of the areas that probably gave me a bit of a USP, was I dived into stats early because I wanted to be able to meet people's needs. And to do that, I didn't want it to be based on just what they thought was happening, their perception of what was happening. I wanted some hard data that did that. And I think we're getting there now with, you know, with tech. In the next few years, it's going to become in the ball, or it'll be in the grip, you know, for everybody. And you'll be able to do it live. I'll be able to see what you're doing on the 7th hole right now and what you could do to help yourself. Yeah. Okay. So I just think that
you'll be up in a tree, Steve, so I won't worry about mine.
Yeah, all your clubs are on the 7th in a tree. So yeah, I think it's
on the 7th for ages. No, I'm in the 19th now, Steve. They're staying out there.
Yeah. I just think that expectation management is a cool route to go down as a young coach, to go, actually, I can help people here with, you know, enjoying this game a lot more. You know, and it's funny because everything I hear in the industry at the moment is the main priority is to improve the ball flight. I actually don't think it is. You know, I think it's high up the list, but actually the main priority is probably how can this person have more enjoyment, which might be their main priority. For a good player, actually, it might be how does this person make better decisions?
Yeah, just be more logical. Yeah.
Firing away a flag, not taking a shot on that I can't achieve because my stats said I only do it 2 out of 100. So I think that it's maybe doesn't replace it, it's up there on the list. And again, as an industry, we've created that because we work in an environment where people come into a studio or a bay or whatever it is, and it all becomes about hitting golf balls. Now, if we started every lesson in a classroom, you know, and this is where we start, and we had access to the golf course easily, or every learning environment was a par 3, a par 4, and a par 5, and that's what we had to deal with, I think we would coach the game differently. Because we coach in a game where we don't see our players play. How many other sports do that?
Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? It is absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Driven by what we've got and the, you know, the environment and the logistics of what we've got. But I just think sometimes it'd be cool to blow it up and go, right, how do we help this player get better? Like you said, take par away, take how they learn away differently, take the expectation away of what's good and what isn't good. Be quite a cool thing to do. And I think we need to do it more as coaches. And then, you know, as I said, I spent a lot of time outside of golf, which has enabled me then to find those challenge points differently in different sports. You know, I've been lucky enough to go and listen to people who've you know, like Red Bull and their R&D team, people who kidnap negotiators, what in a high pressure environment, how are they going to get the result they need? I'm very clear what that is. Here's the result I need from this situation. What types of questions can I ask to people under an intense amount of pressure? And so you start to look at those things. How does somebody organize a rugby trip to the opposite side of the world where they're trying to be competitive for 30 guys and everything that comes with it, the catering, the hotels, so I think if we start to look at all these other things, we'll stop doing what we've continued to do. And they tell me not made the average player any better because the average score is still the same.
Yep, 100%.
There's a grenade.
Yeah. We'll leave that one. We'll leave that in there for people to spew over, and we'll get back to one of the questions I've had down, which is, what is your favorite strategy for acquiring new clients? Don't give too much gold away, though.
I don't think it's gold. I think everything
it's just logical. What we've got from this podcast is just be more logical.
Everything we need these days is out there. It's either repackaged with a bow on it. Somebody will call it something different. There is new stuff comes, but it's not thick and fast like we say it is. So from that perspective, the best marketing tool is be consistent. Okay. So I know I keep rolling that one out, but that's what it is. Then from that perspective, I would go, best marketing tool would be go to the people that are in and around you first of all. So those people that have used your product, tried your product, tested your product, know somebody that's used your product. Those people are going to be the easy wins. That's the low-hanging fruit. They're already around you and they're close to you. So if I'm starting to go, I want to go online coaching, don't try and find Dave in Mexico to begin with, who's competing with 200 other coaches. Go find the people in and around you that maybe you can work your services with. Then go a little bit further. So I would say it's what I call marketing in your office, then marketing on your online. First of all, if you're struggling to fill your diary, don't go and spend every day on Instagram. Go walk the range. Go talk to human beings that are already hitting balls at your driving range and are frustrated. They're the easy wins. Okay. Yeah. Then the next step might be, and you could go even a step back from that, couldn't you? If you've got a membership base, email them on a regular basis. Go stand on the first tee, talk to the members, go play with 3 of them. That's the easy wins. Now, when you get to a stage of, I want to grow an online business, or I've exhausted everything in and around me, now I need to go further afield, then maybe social media becomes more relevant. Whereas most of us will tend to go, I need to do socials straight away. So that's my tip, would be low-hanging fruit. They're already right in front of your nose. Go and talk to those people.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think we should now get into the hard stuff. Who is going to come second this year in the Formula One Championship? Because we know who's going to come first.
Yeah, it was, I was saying to you the other day, Netflix just did a great job of looking on the latest Drive to Survive, like Verstappen didn't even exist. They clearly knew that nobody would watch it if they just did it based around that. So
I don't think he wants it either.
Yeah, difficult, isn't it? I'm going to go at somebody like maybe even Lewis Hamilton or George Russell. I think they might make a bit of a comeback this year, those boys.
Reckon they've got it.
Well, Lewis in his last season, isn't he, before he jumps?
Yeah.
Maybe a point to prove still. I'll be honest with you, I love the in and arounds of Formula One, the intricacies, the 0.1%, how can we find something? But I do struggle with the fact that we can't separate a good driver from a good car. I'd love to see them all in the same car racing.
Yeah, all day long. And I tell you who would win that race, Lando Norris.
Well, something to be said for that, isn't there? There's some proper good racers out there that can't get in the right car. There's a lot of politics as well. Where's somebody from? He's from Asia. We could do with an Asian driver because that's going to open up a world of marketing for us out there. I'm not saying that's how it is, but that's the nature of the beast. That's politics for you.
There is certainly 1 or 2 teams doing that at the moment.
Yeah. No, they don't need a George Ling's clean cut lad from from London, because they've got a few of those already.
Yeah, well, yeah, but no one's quite like me, Steve. Let's put it that way. But I think on the point of Drive to Survive, all of Netflix's series is around sport are just so good. Like the basketball, the Last Chance to Use, the golf one now that's coming out. What else they got? They got the tennis one as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I've not watched the tennis one yet, but yeah, I love the Last Chance You. They're great. We had the Last Dance, Jordan's thing, and as well that was huge in lockdown. Again, you go back to what we said. People just love watching people, and they just want to see transformation. They want to see that clown who walked into the Big Brother house become actually the nicest guy on the planet, and everybody loves. It's like Love Island, isn't it? It's kind of, you watch that and you see these people go on this journey over a period of time. And that's where we're so blessed, is that we have that opportunity every hour to take somebody on that journey. And from a marketing perspective, we need to do a better job of showing people go on that journey, and somebody else go, I want to go on that journey as well, because that looks really cool.
Yeah, I would love to. This is one of my YouTube ideas that's yet to come to fruition, because I haven't quite got the plan right. Is almost do a journey, like I know Peter Finch has done it, but not in the way that I would do it. Is document a journey to an event, like a tour event or a qualifier, like the Open qualifying or something like that, but do it properly, like it's everyday life. It's not just snapping a week's content together and putting it in this one video. It's like some event going on in your life.
That's the thing with Drive to Survive, is you're starting to see behind the scenes now. You're starting to see the conversations in the boardroom. You're starting to see drivers talk about other drivers. And so it gives you a better insight. The more you understand it, the more you fall in love with it. And again, it's people again, isn't it? You kind of go in, how many times have I gone, that guy's a bit of a knobhead? And actually you get to know him and you go, he's all right. And it's usually the one you call a knobhead that you're best mates with 5 years later, because
Hi, Steve.
It's the intricacies of the complexities of human beings that we love. So now, not just these people driving around in fast cars, you're pulling for Gunter's team, or you're pulling, because you know what I mean? And that's what's really cool about it. You want to see the journey of, I'm trying to think who it was in the golf one. Can't remember. There was somebody who didn't believe they were good enough to be a top 50 in the world. And they're like, I'm a journeyman. That's what I am.
Oh, what's his name? He had beers in the middle of his qualifying round for the US, didn't he?
Yeah. Can't remember what it was now. But it's that, isn't it? It's seeing that, it's Matt Fitzpatrick sitting down his table doing his stats in an evening, and you want to go, oh, he really does. It's not just a story that's betrayed. He actually is a geek and wants to get, and have every detail. So I think the more, again, we can do that in our own world and sell that. And, a lot of golfers want that as well. They don't just want a bog standard lesson. They're opening the door to go, come on the journey with me, because it won't be boring. And, we want to help them transform.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, Steve, it's been a pleasure as always. I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me and discussing some hot topics like F1. That's it. I'm just going to cut this video just down to that last 5 minutes, and everyone can just listen about F1.
That's all they need to know, right? Really.
Mate, it's been a pleasure to catch up again.
Back at you, buddy. It's anytime. You'll probably have to trim this into 6 parts, but I've gone on a bit, as I do. But I think it's great what you're doing. And I love to see more coaches out there just finding their own way, not necessarily following what everybody else is doing, but just going, you know what, this is me. I feel comfortable in this bit, but it's going to drag me into some uncomfortable areas, and that's where you're going to grow with doing that. And I just think it's great for the golfers as well, because they get to see, what we like as golf coaches and what we go through, and how much we genuinely care about them doing well.
Yeah, 100%.
So keep doing it, mate. Love it. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Speak to you soon.